Our next topic is value education: moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education. Its burning necessity in the life of modern students. Students need to acquire knowledge on the subject of life building and successful living in their schools, colleges, and universities through life building, character building, and man making education, or moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education known as value education, so that they can build their life completely, properly, strongly, and nicely. What is value education? We will now discuss about the same in this topic. So, what is value education? Value generally means worth of a thing. Value in life means some principle, quality, or virtue which a man being believes and for which he has firm conviction to be worthy of possession and good for application, and which he expresses in the day-to-day conduct in his life in all circumstances. Values such as truth, non-violence, self-control, purity, love, compassion, nobility, benevolence, tolerance, generosity, forgiveness, selflessness, fellowship, brotherhood, doing good to others or paropakara, etc. are basic human values, universal in nature and common for all human beings of the world, irrespective of their caste, creed, cult, sect, color, gender, religion, and nationality, etc. The major sources of these values are moral science, ethics, religion, and spiritual science. Hence, moral education, ethical education, religious education, and spiritual education are called value education. Value education means imparting of teachings to the students on values in different spheres of activities in human life with a view to enabling them to understand, appreciate, believe, and apply those values day-to-day conduct in their lives for their good. Values build the character and life of human beings. Therefore, value education is character building, life building, and man making education. Value education is the real education. Now let us discuss the simple meaning of moral education, ethical education, religious education, and spiritual education. Moral and ethical education relates to imparting of teachings to the students on moral and ethical qualities or values in life such as truth, non-violence, self-control, celibacy, internal and external purity, honesty, austerity, non-stealing, non-covetousness, and other prescribed code of conduct or righteous actions or virtuous actions or ethical actions. Religious education in this context means imparting of academic or intellectual or theoretical knowledge or teachings to the students on different religions of the world, covering the correct meaning of religion, the necessity and importance of religion in human life, the brief outlines of various religions, the philosophies of various religions, the true concept of religion, the fundamental principles or tenets and the essentials of all religions, which include universal qualities such as moral and ethical qualities or values such as truth, non-violence, purity, love, compassion, nobility, benevolence, generosity, forgiveness, selflessness, fellowship, brotherhood, doing good to others or paropakara, etc., which are common to all human beings of all religions. Religious education should be non-sectarian in view of prevalence of multiple religions in our country. Religious education should also be non-dogmatic and non-bigotry. Spiritual education relates to the science of self or soul or Atman. It imparts teachings or knowledge to the students on the various paths for achievement of the higher purpose of human life upon this earthly plane. Liberation of soul or union of the individual soul with the supreme soul, or self-realization or God realization or moksha or attainment of the state of perfection the state of divinity. Such paths include different kinds of yoga, such as karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga, vedanta, meditation, prayer, etc. Views of Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, and Swami Sivananda. In this context, it is most worthwhile to note the views of some aspects of education system of our country, of the world famous saints Swami Vivekananda and Swami Sivananda Saraswati, and the world famous politician and statesman as well as a Mahatma Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the father of our nation. Education. About education, Swami Vivekananda says that education is the manifestation of the perfection already in a man. Education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain or runs right there undigested all your life. We must have life building, man making, character making, assimilation of ideas. If you have assimilated 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than any man who has got by heart a whole library. If education is identical with information, the libraries are the greatest sages in the world, and encyclopedias are the rishis. About education, Mahatma Gandhi says that by education I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in child and man, body, mind, and spirit. Man is neither mere intellect, nor the gross animal body, nor the heart of a soul alone. A proper and harmonious combination of all the three is required for the making of a whole man and constitutes the economics of education. About education, Swami Sivananda says that education is the manifestation of the divinity in man. Education is the training in the art of living. That education which makes you tread the path of truth and righteousness, which molds your character, which helps you to attain freedom, perfection, and knowledge of the self, and at the same time enables you to eke out an honest living, can be called true education. About spiritual education, Swami Vivekananda says that religion is the manifestation of the divinity already in a man. Every improvement in India requires, first of all, an upheaval in religion. Before flooding the land with socialistic or political ideas, first deluge the land with spiritual ideas. If you attempt to get secular knowledge without religion, I tell you plainly, vain is your attempt in India. It will never have a hold on the people. We must have a hold on spiritual and secular education of the nation. You must dream it, you must talk it, you must think it, and you must work it out. Till then, there is no salvation for this race. About spiritual education, Mahatma Gandhi says that if India is not to declare spiritual bankruptcy, religious instruction of its youth must be held to be at least as necessary as secular instruction. Without a national system of education, all our efforts must prove futile. Whenever we get Raj today or after some time, it has to be remembered that it will not last long without national education. About spiritual education, Swami Sivananda says that true education must teach not merely some means of earning livelihood, tenets of citizenship, etc., but it must develop moral and spiritual qualities of the student. Education must aim at performing a spiritual attitude towards life. Spirituality does not hinder material progress. It buttresses, in fact, material interests. The real advancement and well-being of every society and nation depend upon the right kind of educational basis. If an educational system is to be morally effective, it must rest on a spiritual foundation. If this is assured, then science and technology will best serve the interests of mankind. Lopsided emphasis either on humanities or science alone will not serve the interest of our country. Science is not godless. Science alone cannot ensure peace and harmony. Humanities alone cannot cure the ills of poverty or safeguard the freedom of the country. There should be a synthetic development of the both. Necessity. In this universe, everything is changing and going through a process of evolution. The lowest of the creation, that is, the inanimate stones and mountains, evolve into fertile soil. Fertile soils sustain and evolve into living plants and trees. Plants and trees evolve into insects and animals. Insects and animals evolve into human beings, the crown of creation. Then the turn comes for human beings to evolve and transform themselves into divinity, which is the state of their Creator Himself, and thereby to merge themselves with the Creator or God. With this, the process of evolution gets completed. Attainment of the state of divinity, which is also known as union of the individual soul with the Supreme Soul, or liberation of soul, or self-realization, or God realization, or moksha, is the supreme grand goal of aspiration of ideal human life according to our great, glorious, lofty, unique, and ideal ancient Indian culture or Bharatiya Sanskriti. And attainment of such state is possible only in human birth amongst all kinds of living beings upon this earth plane, but in no other species of life. Therefore, our ancient holy scriptures and our rishis, munis, saints, sages, and the great ones say that human life is a precious gift of God, created with the higher purpose of enabling the human beings to attain the state of divinity, which only bestows permanent happiness, eternal peace, and spiritual bliss, and which alone results in permanent cessation of worldly sorrows and miseries in human life, and therefore it ought to be utilized most gainfully. When the state of divinity is attained and permanent happiness and eternal peace are derived, life is said to be successfully lived, completely lived, purposefully lived, truly lived, orderly lived, happily lived, peacefully lived. Then only human life is said to be ideally lived. Thus only this rare and precious gift of human birth given to us by God is wisely and gainfully utilized. The human beings have a mixture of animal instincts, human qualities, and divine faculties. In the process of their evolution, they are supposed to transform themselves into divinity, into perfection, by shedding their animal instincts like lust, anger, greed, fear, hatred, pride, jealousy, selfishness, developing moral and ethical values and human qualities like non-violence, selflessness, tolerance, courage, goodwill, fellowship, brotherhood, doing good to others or paropakar, etc., and unfolding their latent divine faculties like truthfulness, love, purity, compassion, forgiveness, etc. Thereby they can make endeavors to attain self-realization or God-realization or state of divinity, the state of perfection. The process of transformation of the human beings into the state of divinity, as stated above, requires knowledge to be derived through education. Further, God has endowed the human beings, the crown of His creation, with a special faculty, the power of intellect. The power of intellect enables the human beings to think and discriminate between right and wrong. God has also granted complete independence to human beings in the spheres of their thinking and actions. With such independence, the human beings can choose between right and wrong and then think decide, and act accordingly. Right action yields good results, leading to happiness and peace in their lives, and wrong action brings about bad consequences, resulting in miseries, sorrows, and unrest in their lives, according to the inexorable law of action or law of karma. As you sow, so you reap. Therefore, it is necessary for the human beings to use the power of intellect, the power of discrimination, and to know what is right and what is wrong. The learning of the knowledge about the science of actions and the knowledge about discriminating between what is right and what is wrong, and then to choose the right path, as stated above, also requires education for the human beings. Acquiring knowledge for the above two purposes constitutes the primary need for education of human beings. Education for these two purposes is the real education or true education. And such education can be derived in the form of moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education. Moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education is called value education, as discussed below. Such education is not imparted in the modern schools, colleges, universities, and other educational institutions of our country, unlike the ancient time. Simultaneous with the process of their transformation, the human beings have to live in the earth plane for some period. During their lifespan in this earth plane, they need to survive by maintaining their physical body. For survival of their physical body as well as to meet their individual, family, and social needs of secular nature, they need to earn money by taking to some income generating activities. The learning of earning money through such activities also require knowledge. For acquiring such knowledge also, the human beings need education. Acquiring knowledge for this purpose constitutes the secondary need for education of human beings. Education for this purpose is called the secular education. Such education only is being imparted in the modern schools, colleges, universities, and other educational institutions of our country. This, in short, is the need for education for human beings. Without education, the human beings, as stated in our holy scriptures and by our rishis, munis, saints, and sages, live a life similar to that of an animal, taking birth, searching for food, eating, sleeping, procreating, enjoying, fearing, and suffering, and one day meeting the death. By living such an animal life, human birth, the precious gift of God, is wasted, and the higher purpose of human life is not achieved. Therefore, education is a basic necessity of human beings, like food, clothing, house, medicine, etc., and is most vital in human life. Its importance. Value education or moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education of the human beings is the foundation upon which the superstructure of their successful life is built and upon which it rests. If the foundation is weak or deficient, the whole superstructure, however strongly or nicely built, is found to fall down or collapse, leading to destruction and loss. If the foundation is strong and is laid rightly, the superstructure built upon it will stand strong and last long. In the same way, deficient education will mar the life of the human beings, and right education will make their life. Deficient education may lead to temporary material prosperity and worldly pleasures, but cannot bring permanent happiness, eternal peace, and spiritual bliss in the personal lives of human beings. Instead, it will lead to a life of miseries, diseases, sorrows, sufferings, negativity, skepticism, insecurity, fear, cares, anxieties, depression, unrest, etc. and the precious human life will lived in vain, that is without achievement of the higher purpose of human life, that is union of the individual soul with the supreme soul, or liberation of soul, or self realization, or God realization, or moksha, which is the supreme grand object of aspiration or grand goal of ideal human life according to our great, glorious, lofty, unique and ideal ancient Indian culture or Bharatiya Sanskriti. On the other hand, value education or moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education will not only guide the human beings regarding acquiring of true material prosperity and fulfillment of legitimate worldly pleasures and happiness, but also enlighten them on the path of religion and spirituality for achievement of the said higher purpose of human life, happiness. On achievement of this higher purpose of human life, there will be permanent happiness and eternal peace, and permanent cessation of worldly sorrows and miseries in their personal life. In addition to this, it will also lead to both true prosperity and peace in their domestic life, social life, and national life. Therefore, for human beings, value education is more important. Also, value education is more important than even other basic necessities of human life, such as food, clothing, house, medicine, etc. Because if the latter are not available to a human being, his physical health only will suffer, or in the worst case he may die. But if value education or moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education is not made available, he may remain physically alive and well, but morally, ethically, his character, humanity, nobility, religion and spirituality in him will die. He will live an animal life full of sorrows and sufferings only. He will invite degeneration, destruction, loss and downfall in his personal life, and thus his precious human life will be in vain. Ancient and modern education. In the ancient time, the educational centers known as Gurukulas, Rishikulas, were imparting to the students moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education, and also secular education such as languages, mathematics, economics, political science, social science, medical science, architecture, fine arts, sculpture, weaponry, etc. The purpose of education was character building, life building, man making and self development. Consequently, the ancient students were able to build their life with a proper and strong foundation, with a complete, proper, strong and nice superstructure of their future life. They were achieving all-round developments of their physical body, mind, intellect, heart and soul. They were living an ideal student life and developing themselves as good human beings, and were living an ideal, successful, complete, purposeful, prosperous, happy and peaceful human life. But in the modern time, our schools, colleges, universities and other educational institutions teach our students only secular education, that too on Western pattern. Consequently, our students are deprived of such character building, life building, man making education or moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education, that is known as value education and guidance on the right path of their lives. They have become victims of such situation, and many of them proceed in the wrong path of life. Consequently, the foundation of their life becomes weak and poor physical health, weak mind, non-observance of celibacy, pitiable, not so noble character and undesirable conduct, not so ethical conduct. They do not achieve all-round development of their physical body, mind, intellect, heart, and soul. They are unable to bring out the best in them. They are unable to stand on their own legs and also unable to face the difficulties and challenges of life. Overall, they are not able to live an ideal student's life and also not able to build themselves as good human beings when compared with the ancient students. Further, being devoid of knowledge on dharma or religion, adhyatma or spirituality, and our great ancient Indian culture or Bharatiya Sanskriti, they become predominantly materialistic and their future life is spent in sorrows, miseries, and failures without achievement of higher purpose of human life, that is liberation of the soul or union of the individual soul with the supreme soul or self realization or God realization or moksha, which is the supreme grand object of aspiration or grand goal of ideal human life according to our great, glorious, lofty, unique, and ideal ancient Indian culture or Bharatiya Sanskriti, and which alone bestows permanent happiness and eternal peace, and which alone results in permanent cessation of worldly sorrows and sufferings in human life. Thus, they are unable to live an ideal, successful, complete, purposeful, prosperous, happy, and peaceful human life. And thus, our modern students and youth are undergoing catastrophic conditions in their lives and are suffering from permanent and irreparable losses. The adverse effects of the faulty, deficient modern education system have also been befalling on our elderly persons, our teachers and professors, our family, our society, our culture, and on our nation. In this connection, all high level commissions and committees constituted in our country since independence in 1947, such as the Radhakrishnan Commission in 1948-49, Kothari Commission in 1964 to 66, National Policy on Education in 1986, Ramamurthy Committee 1990, Central Advisory Board on Education CASE, Committee on Policy 1992, Planning Commission Core Group on Value Orientation of Education in 1992, S.B. Chauhan Committee in 1996 to 1999 have given the recommendations for restoration of moral, ethical, and spiritual education in all educational institutions. In WPC number 98 of 2002, in the case of Mrs. Aruna Rai and others versus Union of India and others, the Honorable Supreme Court of India have also observed that introduction of study of religions or religious education in educational institutions of our country wholly maintained out of state funds is not anti-secular and also is not violative of the Article 28 of the Constitution of India. Rather, such education is necessary in the life of the children to grow as good human beings and in the life of the people to control their wild animal instincts and achieve spiritual growth and higher goal of human life. In spite of the same, character building, life building, and man-making education or moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education called value education has not yet been restored in our schools, colleges, and universities. In this situation, until such situation is restored in our educational institutions, our modern students need to study in their own interest spiritual literature. They should learn character building, life building, and man making education or value education or moral, ethical, religious, and spiritual education and get necessary guidance for building their lives properly and strongly and for living the same completely, purposefully, prosperously, happily, and peacefully, successfully, and ideally. Then, what is spiritual literature? We will discuss the same in the next talk. Here ends introductory talk number